possessed by fear. I'm clutching you so tight, afraid to lose. I retreat more each night. Where is my voice? I've muted myself, and in my shyness, it's you I repel. I will find my way to express my voice. I must find my way to ignite my spark. Find my way to me so we can be we. Find my way. The fractures between us rise into view. I cling to the scraps of the care that falls through. Where is my strength? I've crumbled apart, hiding from the truth. I've shattered my heart, but I will find my way to regain my strength. I must find my way to restore my will. Find a way to me so we can be we. Find my way. Here is this moment to take a chance, to go on alone or grow and advance. I will find my way to express my voice. I must find my way to ignite my spark. Find my way to me so we can be we. Find my way. I will find my way to regain my strength. I must find my way to restore my will. Find my way to me so we can be we. Find my way. Find my way. I'll find my way.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you for finding your way to Sunday Live with me, Caleb. Bringing you every week from 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific, new artists and musicians, as well as my sidekick, Joe. But before we get to Joe, if you have any comments, comment in the chat room on either Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, and it'll appear here. And we can see your lovely comments and say hi to you. Welcome to the show. If you have any comments for our guests, feel free to put in there. You might have some questions that we'll cover in the after party segment. Opening song, I think I'm going to Find My Way. I was switching up the opening songs, but now I'm not, a lot of TV shows have one opening song that they become known for. So I've decided Find My Way is going to be it. And for those that don't know, the lyrics to that song is written by my wife. She originally said it's different music and a different melody. And I read it, boom. I heard the song, I heard the vocal melody, and I recorded that and produced it, and that original version is available on the Brilliant Dreams Caleb album, available in all retail areas, or streamable nowadays. Who actually buys anything today? You can stream that song and it will give me 0.000000001 cent. And but Tim Lehane, who's my producer, worked on this acoustic version, and it has been played in the opening of the show. It's available on Bandcamp, but it'll get its global release on Valentine's Day, right? I want to release the song written with my sweetie on Valentine's Day. So be looking forward to that. If you like the track, you'll be able to download it, etc., etc., etc. Does anybody download anymore? I thought that. I thought that at first, like everybody just streams now. But a band here, local band, martial law band that I've been helping consult with and get their business into things together in the music industry, they have made as much from sales of CDs as downloads. Isn't that incredible? I mean, granted, that doesn't count all the streaming that's going on, but between downloads and a physical CD, half as many people actually want something physical they can put up on the shelf, which is pretty cool. All right, having said all that, I'm going to see what's happening with Joe in Berkeley, California. Hey, Joe, you out there? Good evening, Joe. How's the Bay?
Well, it's rainy and it's cold, and I've been out caught in the rain and cold, but it's not bad. It's good to get out on times like this because there's a cozy factor to it. The colder it is, the rainier it is on an afternoon, especially a Sunday afternoon. There's something very cozy and snug about it. Especially making your way to doing whatever errands. The coffee shops that serve you to-go cups, and the occasional trip to the hardware store this afternoon for some supplies for work. It's just nice. Just little errands take on the biggest meaning. There's little contact with your fellow man through the service industry. And everything is a to-go culture. And it's great getting out for the few times. Having free time doesn't work terribly well if there's nothing to do or nowhere to go. But finding places to go, food to go, errands, little things like that, minding your distance and being very safe in your practices. These little errands, little missions become little mercies. And such was my day today. So it's just pretty good. The cold and the rain almost added to it in a nice mystical way.
Nice. We actually have been pretty dry. We had a little bit of rain a week ago. The creek flooded into a pond and all that stuff. And we were supposed to then move from that into snow this week. I had the snow shovels ready. The DIs are ready. No snow. On Friday, I got to about 2 o'clock. I said, honey, put down whatever you're doing. We're going to go for a walk. It was sunny, clear blue sky. It was cool, but, just a hoodie and a T-shirt and, one layer of thermals. And off we went. And it was really nice. And again, they said maybe it would snow today, but we're kind of having a unusually warm thing here in Seattle.
Yeah, squeezing in the occasional bicycle ride to and from work between the rainstorms, that tends to help. It takes the edge off of any stress, and it's fun besides. 2 miles from home to work, it just, why not? You brave a little rain now and again. Who cares, right? It adds to the adventure.
For folks that didn't see last week's episode, I confess my ADHD took over last week, and we were talking about e-bikes and this thing and that thing. I am pining for an e-bike, so I think within this year I will have an electronic bike here, because certainly trying to do a pedal bike on these hills around Seattle is not fun. But I so miss just getting on a device and going.
Hey, there's always mopeds.
Yeah. Well, we'll work on that budget. So this week we have a really cool guest who has many faces, and I'll let him explain that. But let me get the title screen up here. Okay. Sorry. All right. And on we go. This week's guest is Ken Newman, magician, musician, philanthropist. And that's all I'm going to say about Ken. Ken, you out there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. after when I decided to become a magician, which wasn't, one of the things that I did as an 8-year-old, I didn't get the magic kit from my grandfather for,
What?
No, I didn't.
I had that little like coupon thing. I was someplace in New York City, and they had like little line drawings, and they would come in little packets.
Tannins in New York was great, sure. Yeah, but I know that's my way in was, I have a corporate production company, and I had a client say their CEO liked magic, and could I do magic? And about 12, 13 years ago, I said, yeah, sure, I'll do a couple of simple tricks. And next thing you know, I'm up to my ears in a garage full of magic props and all this other stuff. It is, next to being a guitar player and being completely obsessed with every type of stomp box and pedal or guitar imaginable, the rabbit hole of magic props is deeper than any hole that there is. And so I've plummeted down both of them. So magician, musician, and I figure if I become a mortician, it would make just for a great lyric for a song. I could,
magician, musician, mortician. Yeah.
You want a trick? You want to die? I got you covered. Oh my. Anyway, so that's
nice.
What else should I say? I mean, you can ask me questions, or I can or you could just say go, and I'll talk for 2.5 hours. Be careful. Be careful to asking a question to a New Yorker. You never know what you get.
See, my mother's always telling me I talk too much on the show. She's like, talk a little, ask a question, shut up, no, play a video. And I told her this week it's going to be no problem.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in trouble. No, wait. Let me mansplain. I'm going to mansplain to you. Let me mansplain to you.
For folks that are not aware, I don't know how you cannot be aware, or maybe I don't talk about it enough. Balanced Breakfast. BB is a music industry group that I run the Seattle chapter of, and our illustrious international leader, man of leisure, Stefan Aronson, has us getting together every 2 weeks to check in online since we're not meeting face to face. And I keep seeing this guy, Ken, show up. And I'm like, I got to get this guy on my show. He's a character.
Careful what you ask for.
And I thought, no, I actually thought about asking you last year, Ken. I thought, no, he's too big of an act. We're not ready for him yet.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, God.
I'm serious. I was like, no, Ken's on the A-list, so we got to wait till 2021.
Wait for it. Actually, the thing that took me off the A-list, the pandemic. It's a little drastic, but, if you're looking for a way to get a hold of anybody, this is the year to do it. It's like suddenly people that would never take your calls are like, you want me to play? I've got a phone. I can play on a phone for you. No, Mick, it's okay. The Rolling Stones are way bigger than. No, really. I'd be more than happy to do it. Really, I'd love to play for you. So yeah, no, it's true. I would have said yes last year, but this year it's like anything. As Joe was saying, anything that's like connection with people is just it's more important now than ever.
About so folks understand, when I touch base with Ken around 4:00, you should touch base with the guest and whatnot. He was crying and feeling lonely. He was in bed with the sheets up against his neck. And when he heard that you guys would be tuning in to listen to him ramble, man, he was up and going. It's that connection, that human vibe. But we're glad, Ken. We're glad you've got up and out of bed. You're here with us today. We love you.
I put on clothes for the first time in 9 months today. Boy, I feel so much better already. Well, half my clothes anyway.
There are children watching this show, Ken. So
yes, I know there are. That's okay. That's why I'm not going to stand up, so don't worry about it. We're all good.
Okay, I sent them into the room.
my inner child. Well, my wife came in. I'm wearing my Nightmare Before Christmas jammies below the Balanced Breakfast uniform. And my wife walks in and she's like, here's your new office uniform.
Nightmare Before Christmas jammies.
Wow. I have never worn pajamas like I've worn in the last 6 months. And I don't know if I can go back, man. Right?
All my rock and roll t-shirts that I just didn't wear out, they're getting a lot of play.
Well, I want to show some folks a little bit about your music. We've talked a bit about being a magician and going down the rabbit hole with that, but I want to also give them some music. And this is really, my mother talking inside my head saying, show us a video for Jesus' sake.
I like your mother already.
So this is I'm Going Crazy.
Oh, dear.
I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. How do I know? How do I know? I miss sleeping through my alarm and screaming out the door. I miss not getting my damn script till the night before. Not seeing all your smiling faces is giving me the blues. I miss TSA and taking off my damn shoes. Yeah, I'm going crazy. Must be going crazy. How do I know? How do I know? I miss the planes and the 14 kids waiting in that bathroom line. I miss the airport carousel with every damn bag but mine. I miss the dinners, I miss the laughs, I miss talking about wands and lands. I miss finding out the gal at registration doesn't know who the hell I am. Yeah, I'm going crazy. Must be going crazy. Try to tell myself I ain't losing my damn mind. I try to tell myself I can't leave all this behind. I tell myself I don't miss you, but I don't believe that. Yesterday I did a 10-minute PowerPoint presentation for my cat, and I don't have a cat. I'm going crazy. Oh yeah, I'm going crazy. How do I know? How do I know? It's the endless days ending with the endless drinks. I miss putting my key in the Vegas hotel door and watching that red light blink. Here's how I know for sure that my mind is about to go. Yeah, I miss Orlando. Miss those shows in Orlando. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. Yeah, I'm going crazy. Crazy. I'm going crazy. Crazy. Oh yeah. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. Oh, I'm going crazy. 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 I miss you like 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 crazy. Y'all like crazy. I miss y'all like crazy. I'm going 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 crazy.
That was I'm Going Crazy by Ken Newman. As you could hear from the lyrics to that song, Ken is a very serious songwriter. He talks about heavy issues of the times with little
Weighty.
humor
Weighty.
or room for common connection. It's an isolating thing.
Oh man, that's beautifully said. So the funny thing, I didn't know I really don't know what things you've pulled from my online presence. That song was actually written kind of as a gift to the part of my life that isn't specifically related to music is trade shows. My company Magnet does or did about 150 trade shows a year and all over the world. I have about 40 or 50 people who are comedians and jugglers and magicians and game show hosts and MCs and stand-up comics who do what they call infotainment, like a live presentation in the booth at the big trade shows like GITEX in Dubai and Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and then a ton in all kinds of places. Orlando is one of our more coveted destinations, as you can well imagine, hence the line about Orlando. So this was just as a gift that I wrote for the people that are in my industry who could relate to trying to check into a hotel and having nobody know who they were, the door that doesn't work after you've walked 15 miles from the in Las Vegas from registration to your actual room at in the bowels of the building, and all the other stuff. And then I rewrote it about a month or two later for an open mic to have it relate to the issues that are particularly well known by musicians, touring or otherwise. Everything that they have to deal with. Showing up at a bar and finding out that there's no PA. And the bar owner goes, "Oh, you said you needed a PA." That stuff. So, and I mean, as mildly humorous as some of those things are, it's the things that I found myself missing. I mean, the weird thing, like a lot of the things, and I think so many of us feel that way. I'm just not going to complain that much about them anymore. It's like, yeah, that was a minor inconvenience. I had to walk all the way back to the front desk. Ooh, poor me. I had to whatever. I had to figure out how to solve this little problem. And, everything is, I don't know, if the pandemic has given us nothing else, it's given us a sense that, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's almost all small stuff.
Amen to that, my friend. I have friends text me, "How are you holding up?" I said, "I got my fingers and toes."
Yeah.
Just don't get too stressed out about it, folks.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. And now, having said that, I have my moments. My wife calls it my angry bear.
Mm-hmm.
and she just goes, "You're being a grumpy bear." Right. Let's shut that shit down. It does not matter. Let it go. Joe, did you want to say something? You flipped over.
I started ironically, there's an actor who has been a friend of mine for many years. We did plays together in the 80s when I moved to San Francisco. His name is Peter Coyote. And Peter's also a Zen priest. And he started doing what they call Dharma talks, which is essentially just talking, filtering things through the Buddhist practice and, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? And he started on April 1st, April Fool's Day, which seemed to resonate with me. And so it's called sitting zazen or sitting in meditation. And, I started like 10 minutes and I figured I could do 10 minutes a day. And I would watch the Buddha, the Dharma talks on Facebook. And my ex-wife, who's also my dearest friend, is been a practicing Buddhist now for about 3 years. And she does a lot of stuff with the Zen Center in San Francisco. And so when I told her I was interested, she jumped right on and said, I think it'd be really, really good, particularly now, why don't you? So I built myself a little, got what they call a zabuton, a little pillow and some kind of things for an altar and whatever. And I've been doing it now every single day. And I have to tell you, between that and having a great relationship with a wonderful woman in my life and a wonderful son that I love dearly, who I can still see, and the aforementioned ex-wife, I think I would be crazy if it wasn't for all that. Having music and all this other stuff is great, but just the connection with people, and then the ability to kind of look at this thing through a prism of, the whole Buddhist notion is like, it's not about what happened before. It's not about what's going to happen. It's just be here, just do this. What is this moment like? And all the breathing room that exists within a small moment. And that's been a lifesaver for me, and it's not like I suddenly got the realization that's how I live my life. But like you said, you have a wife that says, bear, angry bear. And then you have that moment where you bring yourself back. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. That's really the fundamentals of enlightenment. Bring yourself back. That's it. Just don't live in that horrible place for, a month and like take everybody down that pit of despair with you. Just go like, oh, I'm losing my shit. Okay. And I've done that. I mean, I've literally gone out on the back deck of my house and screamed, and somebody, one of my neighbors opened up the door and went, "I'm with you, man. I get it." And then we both laughed about it and it was over,
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's a key thing. I got my bachelor's in clinical psychology. So people will ask me about that and like, well, how do you manage this? And you seem so calm and balanced. How do you do that?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't suppress. When I stub my toe, I yell bloody hell and I swear. And guess what? Then it's over.
Yeah.
It's not about suppression. It's about expressing yourself in a healthy, balanced way and getting past it.
Joe, you were saying something?
Yes, I have similar experiences with roller coasters in Disneyland. I used to make myself sick trying to be brave, and basically, I found the secret is when the first sign of centrifugal forces, I scream like a slap buck private. I let the heavens know. I sound off like Aretha Franklin, and oh yes, I just
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it becomes very enjoyable.
Yeah.
There's a release factor, and then it feels very, very good. I think the craziest roller coaster it was the kind of pulling G forces, and at one point it goes up and down, and it was fantastic. And at one point I was so exhausted from screaming, I was calm regardless. So, and the sad part was that the rest of the ride was almost a letdown because I was too centered. By the way, I think it's impressive, Peter Coyote, because he's a local legend around as well as somebody with Hollywood connections.
Oh yeah,
a lifelong person of his experiences from the '60s in San Francisco to Marin County. It doesn't surprise me that he's a Zen priest with Zazen meditation and whatnot. And I think that's fantastic. It is a great way to be centered.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The closest I come to that is karate and bicycle riding uphill. So after my chest stops burning, I feel a sense of relief. I think it's probably more anxiety leaving the body than my energy. But there's a moment of perturbance after which you feel great. So I get that.
No, you're absolutely right. I studied karate since I was about 12 years old, and when I speak to the teacher I'm working with now in Buddhism, 9 times out of 10 we can bring the conversation back to something that I learned ages ago about a similar kind of discipline. When you're on the mat, when you're in the dojo and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of like when I have to do this or when I have to do that. And it also applies. I mean, with a background in theater, I mean, I've been an actor since I was since I graduated high school. I mean, I got my degree in theater, and a lot of the basic discipline about being an actor, it's all about being in the present. You just have to be in that moment. I mean, when you're on stage doing a play, you can't be thinking about, putting on your makeup beforehand or where you're going to go for drinks afterwards, or anything else in your life is gone. And you are completely tunnel vision focused on what are your objectives? What are you trying to accomplish? What are the things in the way? What are the beats? Just remembering everything. And if, I had a director tell me, he said, if you could bring that kind of concentration and focus to bear in every aspect of your life, as you have when you're, really, really locked in, in a play for 2 hours, you'll be happy. You'll be incredibly successful. It's just a hard thing to do because we're constantly bombarded. And that if you were talking about karate, that's the same thing. You can't make it if you're riding a bike. I mean, I did the death ride and everything was about, can I get these freaking pedals to go around one more time? Because I'm still 20 miles from the top of this freaking mountain.
Theater is like motorcycle riding. It's a sort of Zen or else thing, but you do it enough times, and it's like it becomes a matter of age and treachery over youth and skill.
Yeah, well said.
Yes, and yes. If you could, during the next video, post in the Facebook chat a link to the meditation, that'd be great. I literally was saying just yesterday to my wife, I need to have a formal practice. I've started doing yoga again with Eve. And so this Thursday I'll get back on the horse with that. And I totally hear what you mean about that whole mental, when you step out of what I call the chattering monkey and it starts to separate from you.
Oh, they use that term in Buddhism, monkey mind. That's a very much a,
you realize the monkey mind isn't just you. It's just a dialogue, and it goes on with or without you, and you can actually step outside of it and observe it. It's a very powerful thing.
It is, and it's a great ride. It's a great thing to see. I mean, the absolute, the essence of sitting, Zazen is you're not going to quiet your mind down. It doesn't work that way. The mind is like an organ, like anything else. The spleen secretes, the liver secretes, the mind secretes thoughts. It's just what it does. And so the obligation is to not say, okay, I have to make myself stop, or slap yourself in the face going like, God, I'm thinking too much. It's the idea, and it's a great metaphor, is that the thing comes by, the thought comes by, just don't invite it in for tea. Just look at it. Oh, that's that thing. I'm getting angry about that thing. And then you come back to your breath, come back to how your body feels, your position, however you're sitting, full lotus, half lotus, forget about lotus. I can't do lotus. I'm too old for lotus. Whichever position you're in, you just, okay, I see that thing. And then you let it go. And that becomes a model for how you then let things go in the other 23 hours and 30 minutes of your day. So anyway, I'll put the link in, but for now, if anybody just look for Peter Coyote on Facebook, and he used to do the Dharma talks every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific, and now I believe they're every other week. He missed the last week because of the inauguration, so he may be doing one this coming Wednesday. So cool. I would just just look for Peter Coyote. It's just a great way in. I mean, God knows there's a million meditations. Headspace is a great guided meditation that you can download to your phone. That I used for a while, but just knowing Peter as I do and having shared a stage with him, it's an absolute delight to just be in his presence and to hear that wonderful voice and hear how because he's bringing things from so many different areas of his life, having been involved with the Diggers and the Hells Angels and and the San Francisco Mime Troupe, and being a stage actor and a Hollywood actor and very, very politically astute, and exceptionally brilliant and just a beautiful communicator. It's just a great way to spend an hour on any Wednesday morning. It's not always like, oh boy, up with people kind of happy. Very often it's kind of like, we're in trouble as a society. Here's what we have to do to fix the problem, and he's, there's not too much I take exception to when he talks. So I would recommend it.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to tune in, and I want to make one note for the audience. If you've not experienced meditation or yoga or extreme bicycling, or a martial art, I took fencing. I also took Indonesian martial arts, Pokolan. If you've not done those things and you say, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym, I don't have the time to work out, oh, I don't have time to sit and stare at a blank wall and let go or whatever, however you see these things, just know they are all different shaped tools for achieving the same thing. You can be sitting in bed and in 30 seconds meditate. It's just a practice of getting out of thinking you are your thoughts. And man, if you just stop a moment and listen to your breathing, all of a sudden it's amazing how you will come back to your body and out of that cloud. So just so you know, I'm saying there's no excuse not to take a break.
There is. I mean, I used to do this to myself all the time. I don't have the time. I'm like, oh, come on. You have this 24 hours in a day. If you sit on Facebook for 20 minutes, getting all riled up because somebody posted a picture of Bernie with mittens on, you have time to meditate.
And we'll put
you just do.
We'll put a pin in that right there because, I can't stress that anymore than we already have. So you have so many facets. I was trying to figure out how to squeeze everything like a lime or a lemon into this one episode. We briefly skated on magician work and the corporate work that you did with that, on touring and doing band music, working on being thoughtful. And part of your thoughtfulness isn't just to become present, but to use that presence and those connections to help others. I like to show a song of Blanket the Homeless.
He said, hey, how's your day? Make it count, mister, please don't waste it.
He held a cardboard sign that said, God'll help us find our way. He said life can be bitter or sweet, but you get to taste it. At least you get to taste it. He said, smile, you woke up this morning, how bad can it be? He said, it looks like you're looking for love, but you ain't looking at me. He said, I once had it all and it was gone. Someone erased it. I guess someone erased it. You can walk on by, you can turn away. It's alright, son, if you ain't got nothing to say. I'll be here tomorrow, we can do this again. She wore a long faded dress that used to be as blue as her eyes. She said, ain't this a glorious day? Like she was surprised. She said, I just had this old song in my head. Wish I could remember. I wish I could remember. She said, I once had a son, but he's gone, he sorta slipped away. She said, I got this old picture right here, feels just like yesterday. He had these big funny ears and a smile that was like Christmas morning. He felt just like Christmas morning. You can walk on by, you can close your eyes, you can turn away like you got something to hide. I'll be here tomorrow, we can do this again. We should do this again.
That was Blanket the Homeless by Ken Newman. You're watching Sunday Live. The thing that has always struck me about you, Ken, is no matter how busy you are, you find time to be present. And no matter how serious of a subject you touch, you find laughter.
Wow, thank you. That's a really sweet thing to say. That means a lot. The thing about this song, and and I'll use this, because it is one of the most important things to me these days. About 5 years, maybe 6 years ago, I'd gotten back into music after a long period of not playing very much. I played in college, and then I just did a bunch of corporate rock and roll things, a tribute band kind of stuff, and then stopped for a long, long period of time because I was busy, getting the business started and everything else. And when I got back into it, I realized, my company production work is making me just a living that I can, I'm happy with. I don't really need to make money as a musician, which, as it turns out, is one of the easiest goals you can ever set for yourself, to not make money as a musician. But what I mean was that I could just take whatever I made, tips at gigs, whatever percentage of the bar we were getting, and donate it. So I contacted Compass Family Services, which is a homeless wonderful homeless outreach organization. They provide, family care and child care for kids that parents can go out and get work, and they counsel people to get back to the workforce. So they said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, we were doing a gig at the Condor in North Beach, and they sent one of their representatives over there to talk to the audience. This guy Stacy, and brought some literature. And I noticed that people were listening, like in between songs. They would turn away from whatever sports was on the tube, and I would say, "Hey, I'd like to talk about homelessness." And bit by bit, particularly we'd be in North Beach at the Condor, and you could see homeless people literally walking right by. The windows are open so that the music could pour out into the street. And so suddenly it occurred to me, well, I have an audience. This is interesting. And then I started doing that more often. I would do, Compass Family, Larkin Street Youth Services, and then other charities. And I got connected to Margaret Cho. And Margaret was doing a thing right after Robin Williams died called Be Robin. And it was essentially the most bare bones street outreach program you could imagine. She set up with Jerry Lawler, who we've just lost, a wonderful woman. They were, I guess, in high school together. They were both sitting in the Haight. And Margaret was doing her comedy and music, and Jerry was doing crazy stuff. And they had a guitar case open and a sign that said, "If you have, give. If you need, take." And people would throw money in. Oh my God, it's Margaret Cho. And then they would take the money and break it into small denominations and hand it out to people. So literally money in, money out. No admin, no infrastructure, just money in, money out. And so we started doing that. And or she did. And my friend called me up and said, Margaret is doing this thing. And I said, yeah, I just heard about that. She started in the Haight. You should reach out to her. I said, I don't know her. She goes, well, find her on Facebook. So I went, okay. So I went to Facebook, found her, and I just wrote her a little note and said, hey, I do this kind of thing. Been doing it for 2 years. I'd love to be involved in what you're doing because I love the sound of it and the simplicity of it. And sure enough, like an hour, 20 minutes later, I think I get a message from her. Do you have a busking amp? And can you be at the corner of whatever, Van Ness, Larkin Street, Van Ness and Ellis by such and such a time tomorrow noon? I said, sure. So I went to Guitar Center, had to buy a busking amp, and then, then naturally set up and I start to play. And all of a sudden there's there's a CBS truck, and then there's somebody, bringing 50 pounds of pasta, and a bunch of people bringing clothes, and the police starting to redirect traffic, and this thing just exploded. And I'm playing on the street. Now we're on the cover of the Chronicle. Margaret comes up to the microphone. We do a duet on something. Bob freaking Mold, Husker Du, Sugar, one of my idols. I had no idea he lived in the Castro. I'm bending over, plugging my guitar into my amp, getting ready to play. And I hear this voice say, hey, can I use your amp? I'm so sure. Do you want any dirt on it? He goes, no, I have a pedal. And I turned around. And I went, oh man, yeah, sure. You could use my amp, whatever. Next thing I know, I'm playing percussion and Bob's playing one of his songs. And I'm thinking, this is just insane. And then they decided to do a documentary film about it, which has since played at film festivals and won a bunch of awards. So we did that for a while. We did shows at the Boom Boom Room, the Fillmore, the Edge, the Oasis, on the street in front of Victoria Theater, and the Mission and the Haight and the Castro. Raised a ton of money, a lot of awareness. And then Margaret had to leave town. Her career had kicked into high gear again. And so I continued using the Be Robin brand and kept doing it at different clubs around the city. And right around that time, a wonderful and brilliant woman named Bronica DiCarlo. I would like to give a shout out to her because it was her idea. A friend of hers in Boston, had been giving out Mylar emergency blankets to people on the streets because Boston winter's a whole other kind of winter than what we have. And it was like 30, 40 below. And, the Mylar space blankets can keep you alive. And so she said she wanted to do it here. And I said, great. So me and my company bought 1,000 of them. Gave her a bunch, and then I would bring the rest of them to my gigs and hand them out to the audience and say, hey, as part of like my normal outreach, on your way home, instead of just blowing past somebody and ignoring them, which the song addresses, you can walk on by, you could turn away, you have nothing to say. It's all right. I'll be here tomorrow. We can do this again, and the woman saying, it's the idea. And a homeless guy told me this. He said, the hunger is bad. The cold is bad. The loneliness is bad, but the feeling of becoming invisible is what kills me. The feeling that if I say good morning, somebody doesn't say good morning. It's not even asking for money. It's just, I start to feel like I'm not here anymore. And so the emergency blanket, I said, look, think of it as a way, if you don't have $10, $5, $1, a quarter to give somebody, just give them this and make contact. And I would tell people, I said, just say hello. That's it. You don't have to do anything. Say, hello, I'm sorry, I don't have any money on me right now. Because that's a hell of a lot better than just turning your face or faking a phone call and pretending they're not there. And then I met a young woman on the street who'd lived on the street for quite some time, had managed to get herself off the street by playing ukulele and original songs down on Market Street and 6th. And she was brilliant. And I saw her on the street and I said, hey, you're incredible. Do you want to come to the next gig? I'll pay you. I want you to perform and I want you to talk about homelessness. And she said, oh my God, yeah, I'd love to. And I said, what do you think should be in the package along with you? Yeah, I want to start adding things to these packages. She said, well, they need socks. Socks are great. Socks. And what else? Hats and gloves and warmers and this. So I'm not going to go into the step-by-step development of this, but basically what we ended up with, I hired somebody to produce a Z-fold document on waterproof paper that has listings of all the places to get free food, shelter, childcare services, legal services, hygiene services, you name it. That gets stuffed into a Ziploc bag along with Mylar blankets, socks, gloves, hats, condoms, antiseptics, and now COVID masks. And we've given out about 6,000 of those in the past 5 years or so. We're now part of St. Vincent de Paul Society. We partner with the San Francisco Zen Center, the Harm Therapy Project, the a couple of other different, Glide, a couple of other different organizations in the city. And so it just kind of exploded. And then my dear friend and producer, Scott Mickelson, decided after he had done a fundraising album for fire relief to the North Bay fires, he said, I'd like to do this for Blanket the Homeless. So we did. We produced an album called Blanket the Homeless. The song is actually called We Should Do This Again. But the Blanket the Homeless is what I wanted it to be branded on the website. And we got, I mean, you'll know a lot of these people. Stone Foxes donated a track. Tim Bloom from Mother Hips, fantastic Negrito. Scott did one himself, Scott Mickelson. Goodnight Texas, John Craigie, Brothers Comatose, King Dream. I have a track on there, the one you just heard. Combrio, Kofis Brothers, Whisker Man, Tobias the Owl, Marty O'Reilly, Rainbow Girls. And we had the album release concert at the Independent. And all the money, I still have a ton of these. If anybody wants to buy one, they're normally 40. We'll let them go for 25. But it's double vinyl. It's really, really great production, great songs. And all the money goes directly to our charity. We've raised a lot. We actually just got another $6,000 or $7,000, and we're going to be doing another purchase of supplies next week. So
make sure to put the link to the album in the comments. So folks, if you still have record players are hip and happening these days, you should have that album in your collection. And
where do you want me to put the comment in the Zoom chat or the Facebook?
In the Facebook.
Okay, cool.
And it's tough. I was mentioning earlier about my clinical psych bachelor's, and at that time, San Jose State University was an open space for the halfway houses because everybody had been cleared out of Agnew's, and they all had moved into downtown San Jose. And so you have, when you're studying, say, mental issues, and watching people, connecting with people, you have some sense of, okay, that guy, maybe I can engage with that guy. That person probably got robbed blind financially and they've ended up on the street. You get a sense of who's who that you're engaging with. But I think for a large part of the population has very good heart and very good intentions, and they just don't know what they're dealing with. So they don't want to open that door and share that human touch with someone because they don't know, is that person violent? Are they on certain drugs? Are they psychologically unstable? Or are they just someone down on their luck? What would you recommend to them as a way of bridging that? Obviously, buying the album and then through secondary, right? Your money is now going to a good cause where you can then deliver these packages to folks. And so there's a lot, I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of ways to get involved in social issues, even if you don't have the wherewithal to engage directly. But I'm also curious with your experience of going into this whole world and it taking off in all these projects, if you have an insight for others that would help them.
Yeah, I will tell you, it is an absolute instance of things being approached on a case-by-case basis. Because one of the interesting kind of challenges that I face on a regular basis is, my girlfriend she manages a building in the Tenderloin. It's on Geary and Larkin. And she, I very often will step over somebody shooting up on the street or having just relieved themselves somewhere or done some other horrible thing or been, I've been accosted or chased because I gave money to one person and not to somebody else. But sadly, that is a small percentage of the population of people living on the streets. The vast majority of them want to, just don't, they don't want to bother anybody. They don't want to be bothered by anybody. They just kind of want to try to eke out some kind of an existence on the street without, without getting called out, without having their stuff taken away, their tents ripped up. So for me, it's quite literally there are times when, somebody hits me up and part of me just kind of wants to go, just God, would you just leave me alone? Just stop it. And I have had some pretty serious altercations with people on the street where I was a little scared. But the flip side of it is somebody contacted Blanket the Homeless just a couple of weeks ago by phone. And a woman said, hello, I was wondering, do you give out blankets? And I said, well, actually what we do, and I explained that they're all stored at St. Vincent de Paul, and we have people that pick them up 50, 100, 200 at a time, and they, distribute them around the city, but we don't really have like a place where people can come up and pick them up. And she said, oh, it's just that my husband and myself and my dog were really, really cold. We're at a tent, on such and such a street. And, and I had just gotten a big infusion of cash from a couple of $1,000s from somebody donated $2,000 to the charity. And I was just, once I stopped crying, I kind of was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. So I said, look, can you get through tonight? Okay. She said, yeah, tonight's going to be a little warmer, but it's going to get cold tomorrow. I said, okay, where are you? And she said, well, the tent's gray and red, and I'm at the corner of blah, 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 by wherever. She was by Best Buy, I think. And I said, okay, I have your number, and I will see you tomorrow at 1:00 or 2. So I got on Amazon and I figured, all right, I didn't want to just give her the Mylar blankets. I found these blankets that are like not that expensive, but they're ridiculously soft and cozy. And I ordered like about 100 of them so I could always have them in my car. And I figured that'll be part of it. Won't fit in the little plastic bag, but it'll be another little thing. I mean, literally was just thinking on my feet, said, oh, I'll just do this. And so I got, 4 blankets and then a couple of the packages and the list of resources. And there she was, she came out and with her dog, and her dog was a pit bull, but its little tail was going like crazy. I said, this dog's okay. She goes, yeah, but I'm going to keep her on leash. I don't want you to get nervous. My husband is actually going off to pick up some food. And I said, okay. And I gave her, and she just, I couldn't see her face. She had her mask on, but she did this thing. She just got to touch her heart with both of her hands, and she just, and I just saw it in her eyes. It was like, oh my God, this is grace.
Someone can see me.
And it was just a thing, it was just like, we just kind of looked at each other from 20 feet away, and there, at a different time, I would have gone up and put my arms around her, and, but I didn't. And, and that's just one of many, many, many stories I've had like that. I mean, I just occasionally, I just kind of go like, all right, I have enough time. I could do this one thing. I mean, right around the corner from my girlfriend's house, I have, I always have the packages in the trunk. And I gave out a half a dozen to these 6 guys that I always see on the street. And, this one guy, really big, just, big, strong looking guy. I remember he took the bag and he opened it up and he looked in it and he looked at me and he just kept looking at it, and looking at me and looking in the bag and looking at me. And then he said over and over again, this is for me. This is for me. This is for me. I said, yeah, no, it's for you. He went, and I started to tell him what was in it. And I said, it's got this, and it's got this, and it's got a blanket, and it's got this, and it's got this. And he just kind of like this, he started waving in my face, and he went, no, 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 no. No, no. And I said, no. He said, no, no, there's love in there. There's love in there. I was right in front of St. Vincent de Paul down the street. I had just ironically just been there being photographed for a story that they did on me and Blanket the Homeless for the Christian Science Monitor. They had a photographer, they flew up from San Jose to take all the pictures with me surrounded with the bags. And yeah, wow, look at me doing this wonderful thing. So I took a handful of them to walk out to the car, figured I'd throw them in the trunk, stopped 4 times in the 2 blocks that I left from St. Vincent de Paul to the car, and they were all gone. They were all gone. But I had, one experience after another like that. And it's just, I tell people this all the time, and it sounds a little on the Pollyannish side and a little bit like, oh yeah, you don't really know what it's like to suffer. And I don't have a fucking clue what it's like to suffer. I don't. I mean, I've had sad, horrible things in my life, but I don't really know what it's like to suffer. happily, maybe I'm lucky, but one of the things I have figured out is that when I'm feeling at my absolute worst and I feel like, oh, this is terrible, I've lost for all intents and purposes, my business is over. I mean, I went from the best year I've had in 2019 to virtually no income in 2020. I'm seeding for future, but, happily I'm surviving it. But, when those moments happen and I feel that my darkest, that's when I just kind of get online and call, St. Vincent de Paul, say, how are things going? Or I reach out to one of my friends and say, you guys, yeah, we were just getting ready to start another program. And I said, wonderful. Why don't you swing by? There's another 100 packages. Or I got together with some people at the Coalition on Homelessness, and we put a little packaging party together. There were 4 of us 15 feet away from each other. And we filled up, a table with all of our supplies. And we started putting together Ziploc bags. And I did that for 2 hours, left, and again, gave out a half a dozen packages and felt like 1,000 times better. I mean, I don't know. It sounds simplistic as hell, but it's one person. That's it. I mean, if I reach that one person, that's everything.
And I'm thinking it's one person, you. I hear people say, oh, how are we going to afford this? How can we have the time for this? Or the other people that I see say, I'm bored. I just don't understand any of that. But one reason why I wanted you on the show is because you are one person, Ken. And you managed to do all this in the same 24 hours all of us go through. And I don't think it's because you have more coffee than the rest of us.
Oh, but I do. And it's stronger than anything you can get your hands on. It's black market shit. Really.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, that's what's going on here. Everybody needs to, get your special blend of coffee, and then they'll be super.
It makes it so much. I sleep 14 minutes a day. That's it. 14 minutes. 2 REM
light
cycles.
roast, except no substitutes.
I suspect you do sleep.
With a vengeance, yes.
And so in the stories I've heard in Balanced Breakfast and that community, I'm like, this guy manages to connect, and through connection, all this stuff, apparently volumes of stuff, come in your life and happen in your life. And I'm like, no, Ken's this guy. Ken's a guy. He chooses to do what he chooses to do with his time. It's not that he's a superhuman. And I just want to stress that to folks, that no matter what your challenges are in life, you can do stuff. You can engage with people. You can make people's lives better. I don't know if you ever met Frank Moore, Ken.
No, I don't think so.
But Frank did the kind of stuff you're doing.
Oh.
And he didn't get to speak to a human being until he was in his 20s. And he was permanently in a wheelchair, unable to move much.
Wow.
And he had outreaches, performance art, shows, a streaming show like this 25 years ago.
Wow.
And he could only communicate with a head pointer, pointing at a Ouija board of letters. So folks, if you think you're limited and that your limitations stop you from being engaged and involved, let's call bullshit on that.
The thing too is that it doesn't have to be a big deal. It years ago, I was in a workshop to help me deal with my type. You wouldn't believe this, but it's going to come as a shock to everybody who's listening. I'm a type A personality. Okay. So now that you've gotten over that, I was in a workshop to help me sort of deal with that, because the upside of it is you get a lot of stuff done. The downside is that you could kill yourself and possibly a whole host of other people in the process. So, because you tend to kind of immediately have a fight or flight response to things that don't deserve a fight or flight response, like being in a long line, stuck in traffic, whatever. I mean, fight or flight is somebody's coming at you with a knife. You want to deal with that. But just because somebody's taking too much time to find their credit card in front of you at the grocery store doesn't mean you're allowed to get, go batshit crazy on them. Right. So one of the things they had us do for a week, and this was one of the most life-changing exercises I ever was involved in. It was, you had to go up to 5 complete strangers and say something nice to them. Anything. It could be nice sweater, beautiful kid, whatever. And just check in with yourself. Just see what happens when you do that. And I remember I gave that to somebody, to a woman who was a friend of mine who I really thought was suicidal. She had kind of gone down to the darkest place that she could possibly go. And we were talking on the phone. She hadn't been out of the house in days. This was years ago. And she's doing fine now. But I was really worried about her. And I said, look, I love you. You know that, right? So I'm going to have a couple of things I want you to do tomorrow morning. I want you to have a big breakfast. I want you to take a bath. You know, I know you have a body image thing, and doesn't matter. Don't put in your contacts, light one candle, and then you won't be able to see yourself in the mirror. So take a bath. She goes, okay. And she laughed. She did. And then I said, and go up to 5 people and say something nice to them. She called me the next day crying. She said, I did the bath, I did the breakfast, and I only talked to 3 people. I said, that's why you're crying? 3 out of 5 is fine. She goes, no, it's what they said. You know, the first one was a kid. Second one was a sweater. She was in line at a store. And she looked at this woman and said, has anyone ever told you you have a beautiful smile? And the woman just completely crumbled and burst into tears, you know, and Susan leaned in and went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I didn't mean. She goes, no. She goes, that's the nicest thing anyone has said to me in probably 10 years. And then Susan started crying. So the 2 of them are standing in line crying. Of course, the guy behind them is like, can you get a room or something? Goes, I got to get out of here. This is the express line, right? It's like, I got a workshop for you. But long story short, the 2 of them sat down, had a long lunch, talked to each other. And then I asked Susan, I said, how do you feel? She said, I feel like I got plugged back in. And I knew exactly what she meant. You know, it's this is my engine, but it will also kill me. You know, it will kill me if I don't try to control it. You know, if I let, because I can go to the darkest place imaginable in a heartbeat. And what I have to do with a pathological like grip is reach out to somebody, do something else. And then I don't churn, you know, and that's what I believe that everybody can do that. I mean, it's without, you know, trying to preach it. It's not that complicated. It's all, you know, get off of Facebook for a little while, you know, stop complaining and screaming about the idiot that just left, you know, or wondering if the new guy's going to do any better or any of that. Just find, you know, lose the big geopolitical view of things and talk to your neighbor, talk to the person next door and say, hey man, you're looking, are you okay? What's going on? Just, how are you? 3 words. It has an amazing impact on people because nobody asks. Nobody wants to hear the answer. How are you is sort of like the question. Hey, how's it going? Good. Right. No, it's not.
It is a toughie. And I have empathy for folks who are like, oh, I just don't want to, you know, I'm having a tough day, whatever you got going on in your head. And you're like, I just don't want to open the door. Mm. And so people don't. And because they've been convinced to be scared, the majority of people are nice and sane and are fine. Mm-hmm. And yes, there's a minority of challenges out there, and you learn how to work with that. But the majority of people are just like you, living the same life. And if you could reach and touch them and connect and go, oh, that's right. We're just human people. We're, you know, born, live, and die. And we want to have food and shelter. A lot of shit just falls away.
We're all, as Peter Coyote says, that he's referencing something, a comedy group called the Firesign Theater. Mm-hmm. Who are these just wild, avant-garde, surrealistic comedy troupe back from back in the day.
Getting the vinyl records from the
vinyl
library.
Records, yeah, like Don't Crush That Dwarf, Hand Me the Pliers, and Nick Danger, and all this stuff. But there's one of them is called "Where I think we're all bozos on this bus," and Peter uses that line all the time. It's just like, look, we're not, you know, there's greatness in all of us, there's tragedy in all of us, but you know, in the final analysis, we're all bozos on this bus. It's just we're just trying to figure out our way, you know,
yep,
muddling through. And you know, you can it's just amazing. I mean, if it wasn't for Zoom, you know, the pandemic basically got me to get my family on Zoom, and now once a week since April, we talk to each other. We share screens. I see that my nephew's got his, you know, architecture project working, and I'll share a video that I did, and we tell jokes. And my mom's 89 years old, and she gets on and she starts telling me, you know, what she's been up to, and it's fantastic, you know, and it's connection. I mean, it's not quite the connection that we have when we hold each other, but I'll take it.
So amongst your ways of connecting, we were talking earlier about, I said, you have, I don't know the right phrase here. You have so many facets to what you do day in, day out, that this has to become a 2-episode. We're not going to fit things in there.
Oh, you're so
but
great. Thank you.
I know we've been hammering kind of the audience, maybe a little hard, like, get off your couch.
Yeah, I don't want to do
that.
They're going to be like, who is this guy?
So I want to give them some levity.
So,
we said you're a magician.
Oh, crap. Okay, we're going to go there, are we? All right, fine.
And obviously you do magic for people every single day.
I do. And in fact, when we had our little coffee clutches, I would do it there.
I think now you also need to, you have your pony show moment.
All right, I'll tell you what. Because we don't have, like, normally if there's a bunch of people on Zoom. You know what? I think I'm going to do this one. Yeah, this is kind of fun. I quite literally have never even tried doing this online, but virtually, because it's a very much one of the things that's really been hard for magicians during this crisis is, particularly me, because I do close up. A lot of it is, it's all about, and I like magic in other people's hands. So I can't hand somebody a coin or a ball or a combination lock or a Rubik's cube and take it back or do any of that stuff. So I'm going to have to kind of figure. Now I am putting these on, not because I am trying to show you how cool I am, but because I need a place to put these cards, and I'm going to stick them. This literally just occurred to me. I'm going to show you, I'm going to see if I can do this. Okay, I've framed myself. I'm going to show you a number of cards, all right? And your job, and I'll use the two of you, Joe and Caleb, your job is to remember as many details as you can. And of course, for those of you at home, you can play along. I'm going to show you the cards, and you have to remember the number, the color, the suit, the value. Okay, so first of all, there's the backs. All right. And now here's the face. Now I'm going to hold these up for a while. I will just tell you, just by way to help, because I'm going to ask you 5 questions afterwards. Remember that each one of the suits are represented. There's a club, heart, a spade, and a diamond. And then there's a couple of one card and a couple of another. And that's all I'm going to say about it. And now that's it. And Joe, first question is for you. How many cards did I show you?
6.
Caleb, how many was it?
4.
Right, 4. Very good. Now, Joe, what was the color of the back of the card? The pattern, the bicycle pattern, red or blue?
It was red. It was a woman riding a penny farthing. It was red.
Oh, penny farthing. Damn, that's absolutely right. A woman riding a penny farthing. 2 of them. That's what they call the bicycle back playing card. It's a very standard card by the U.S. Playing Card Company, used by a lot of magicians. But Caleb, you are right, and I'm going to try to do this here as fairly as I can. There's the stack. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 cards. Now it's going to get a little harder. Joe, the red 5. Oh, darn. I didn't mean to say it was a 5, but it was a 5. The red 5, was it a diamond or a heart?
It's a diamond.
Ah, excellent. Most everybody gets that first one wrong. They think it's a heart because, okay, you see that, Caleb? You got it. It's a diamond. Yep. Right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 5 of diamonds and I'm going to stick can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, here it is, right up there. So that way it'll stay in view and it'll be really clear that I didn't take it. Now, I also showed you a black 5. Caleb, the black 5, was it a club or was it a spade?
Spade.
Ooh, very good. You guys, this virtual thing works better than it does actually. 5 of spades. It's very good. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the 5 of spades and I'm going to stick it right there, because if I put it over the other one, I will be completely blind. And now it gets interesting. I also showed you 2 court cards. Now, as you know, a court card is a king, a queen, or a jack. Were they kings, queens, or jacks, Joe?
It was a jack.
Caleb?
King.
Very good. They were kings. Now, Joe, the red king, was it a heart or a diamond?
It was a diamond.
Are you sure? The other one was a diamond. The 5 of diamonds you got right. So it had to be
heart.
Right. Exactly. Now, Caleb, what about the black king? Club or spade?
It's gonna be a club by.
Oh my gosh! Look at you. That's why you get paid the big bucks. All right, heart and club exactly. Now, without looking, Caleb, the card that is closer to you that's stuck in my eye here is which one of the 5s?
Oh, geez, the 5 of spades.
You're probably right. And then Joe, the other one would be the what?
Five of Diamonds.
You know, you guys were doing great. You were doing so well right up until the end. Because the cards. Those are the.
Oh man, we're getting senile, Joe.
No, you're not getting senile. Wow, that's that. I hope that's videotaped. I've never done that online before. I'm really curious to see how it came out.
Well, we have you down right here. It gets recorded on YouTube, and this will be posted
so
for
there you
reviewing.
Go. So I have another one. I have a very funny trick that I could do. That's actually a math miracle that I think people will like. We could do that one later if you want.
Sounds good. I'm going to do the Mystic Moment because we're around 6 o'clock as our break here, and then we'll be back for the after party for more magic and music from Ken Newman.
Whee!
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in this week with our guest, Ken Newman. For regular viewers, you know this is the Mystic Moment in which you're asked to take a step back and listen to everything that came out of the show and figure out how it kind of applies to yourself. And we in many ways, we've already covered that. So I won't put too much on you. But just after this episode, take home and at heart this idea of creating magic. Not just as a trick and entertainment, but as a connection to people. And find some way to reach out and connect and help some folks out there. We all have in our lives upswings and downswings. And I'm certainly thankful for all the times I've had downswings, that there have been people there around me to help me, sometimes catch me when I fall. And in return, I'd like to create a little magic and give back. That's your Mystic Moment for the week and your assignment. Sometimes there's no need for words. And every episode of this show gets my wheels going. What I'm learning from people every single week, the feedback I get in messages and chat and whatnot have been huge, and I just want to personally say thank you to all you for being there. I've been, caged up for 9 months. Like many artists, all my shows get canceled, and I've been figuring out how to reinvent myself each day. And, there's some days I just want to stay in bed and pull the blankets over my head. And you just gotta, some days allow yourself to do that because you might just need some downtime. But other times it's, I just think about all the amazing people I've met on the show this last year, and that kicks me into gear. And I say, okay, what more can I do today? So thank you for being a part of that. We're going to go in the after party. We'll get more magic and music from Ken Newman. So, Ken, the first thing we're going to do at the end of this episode is I'm going to book your follow-up.
Cool. I'd love it.
Because, let's see, we got two songs out of 5 in the first set, and then we had a song. So, you are a 2-episoder. Joe, make sure he doesn't leave until we get nailed down a follow-up date.
I'd love to. I'm more than happy to.
The door is locked, and the car's been hidden. He is not leaving until we get his approval.
So we usually show an additional video during the after party. I'm going to skip the Rethinking Online meeting because I felt that your cameo was too short.
Rethinking the that's actually a really old. I've got to get back on there. There's some really more fun stuff with music videos and stuff. But no, we don't have to talk about Magnet Production. I'd rather talk about music and the charity and everything else.
I want to show another music video. So I'm going to give you your choice. This is the first on Sunday Live. No one has been giving a choice of what videos I really show.
Usually... I would say just because it's got a little bit more of a backbeat. What am I afraid of?
Okay, what am I afraid of?
And then if you want to do shit show to wrap it up, I don't mind.
Okay,
that song doesn't
I can put that at the end. That works.
Yeah.
This is a track called "What Am I Afraid Of."
So the first song I'm going to do is about marketing. No, it is. It really is. Fear-based marketing, but you'll understand as we go along.
That was What Am I Afraid Of by Ken Newman. And Ken, we've been talking about being socially active, you know, connecting with people, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's helping folks who are down on their luck, just that engagement. And I think it really does come back to fear, right? We're all fearing for our own safety. When we see someone who's down and out, it's the monkey mind gets in there and says, that could be me. Right? I don't want to look at it because it reminds me I can be that. All these layers of fear and storytelling that we do with ourselves. What are some of your tips that you use yourself to stop or to disrupt that fear reaction?
Well, I'll tell you, it was such an important thing for me that this song is actually the title song on the album. It's the album I have coming out, I hope in April, is called What Am I Afraid Of? And it came in part because of, again, a therapist, a very wise therapist I had many years ago, you know, who asked the question, he said, when you're really, really, really angry about something, the first question you need to ask yourself is, what are you afraid of? What is the thing? Where is because the fear and the anger thing are just so closely connected. to each other. So what's the question? And sometimes it takes a little bit of a dive. It's you have to figure out, all right, what is it? And you mentioned one that's like, I don't want to take a look at that person. I'm afraid of that person. Why? Because I could be that person. That could be me. I could be, and fear is marketed as a commodity. I mean, we've lived for the last 4 years where that's how it works. We believe that's how it works. That's the thing that, I mean, if you look at the news, what are the things, there's a great expression in journalism: if it bleeds, it leads, right? They're not going to put on the top story when you check out your news feed on your iPhone is not going to be, the Delta is changing and the number of new infections is, that rate of change is beginning to drop a little bit, or there's some, really good news coming out about this or about that, or about the efficacy of the vaccine or whatever. No, it's like, we just hit another 100,000 or 1 million or 500,000 or 250,000. It's just keep everybody afraid. And it's infuriating to me, quite honestly. It's like, can't we just at least balance it out? Yeah, you have to be cautious. We need to be aware that there are dangers out there. But, for me, again, it's, I mean, it's, maybe it's because I just recently started this meditation, this Zen practice. My Janice, my ex-wife, said, one of the things that you could do for yourself is set up your pillow and in your meditation area in a place where you can always see it. It's sort of like this little, come here, I got a comforting thing, a comfortable thing for you. You can just sit over here and do this thing. We'll just go away for a while, get away from this craziness. And it's right. Pretty much anywhere in my living room, dining room, kitchen area, I can just kind of see it there. And if I have that, and I know what that feeling is, it's a it physically manifests itself in certain places in my body. When I feel that like kind of clenched teeth thing, and I know that something is triggered, then I'll just kind of go like, okay, this is a good time for me to sit down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 minute, just kind of like breathe, figure out what, and it's not like you have an epiphany. It's just, you're in the present tense, because fear is always about something that's about to happen, right? It's that thing is going to happen. I'm not going to be able to do this. For me, I was clinically depressed for a couple of years, and they tried to put me on Prozac. That was a disaster, and I went off that one, and it was even worse. Then they put me on Paxil, and I was like, oh, God, I don't know. I don't need an antidepressant. I can just figure this shit out for myself, and my wonderful therapist said, let me ask you a question. If you were diabetic, you'd take insulin, right? Yeah. You ever take an aspirin when you have a headache? Yeah. Toothache. You ever take like a painkiller, bad toothache? Yeah. So, we're all soup. We're all electrochemical soup. You can't like hate yourself just because you need this one little thing to kind of get, to create homeostasis. And I went, all right, great. So I tried it. After a couple of months, it really did the job. It really did kick in. And, but that coupled with one of the things my therapist said, he said, well, when you're freaking out, when this depression really hits you, what is it? I said, well, and it was all about, for me, it was my job and my dealing with corporate clients and CEOs and all these people who I'd have to have phone calls with. They would have to give me all this information, and then I would have to figure out a way to make it funny and write these comedy shows. And I was terrified about these calls. And I literally would just work myself into a frenzy. I didn't sleep the night before, and because I'll never be able to figure out the technology. I'll never be able to rein them in or any of this stuff. And all my therapist said to me was, they're not bullies. Because he knew my background. I got beat up a lot as a kid. I grew up in a tough neighborhood, and I got seriously beat up and chased and stabbed and all kinds of horrible things. And he said, they can't do that to you anymore. They're not going to do that. They're different. They act like bullies, but they're not going to do this thing. They can't do this thing. You're not going to let them. So you're on a par with them. There's nothing to be afraid of. They've got this, they got the money for you. You got the talent for them. It's a symbiotic relationship. So just you can let go of that. And it wasn't an overnight thing, but then when I looked at it, so it's asking yourself the hard questions. It's like, am I afraid that I'm a failure? Am I afraid that people are going to find out that I'm faking it? Am I afraid that this relationship that is the most important thing in the world to me is based on is a house of cards? It's just a construct. It's something that I've convinced myself is really what I want, when in fact there's nothing about it that's healthy. And I'm just saying because I've been in relationships like that, and I'm sure other people have. So the questions that you have to ask are the questions that you never want. I don't want to hear the answer to that. I don't want to find out that I'm going to actually have to do something a little difficult to get myself out of the situation. But that's what it is. It's doing the hard stuff,
Growing up, I tended to collect things. I didn't really have any money so if I got something, you held on to it. And then I found at a certain point in my life, I had like posters on every wall. I had desktops with stuff going. No, yours is artfully done. I recently was going back through some old photographs and I was like, wow. I'm like, what was that about? And I've learned since then, over the decades, you have to make space for something to come in. And if you've filled your space with bad relationships, you've not allowed there to be any space to have a good one. And I had to give up my fear of not having something. A friend of mine said, you have this gear in your studio on your rack, and you're trying to figure out how to make it work and integrate with other stuff. It doesn't. It doesn't. Like, how am I going to use that port on this device? That port was for 20 years ago. It was from one thing. Like my keyboard has FireWire, right? So it should work with the other FireWire systems in that at the time. No, it doesn't. It only works with one. It's like, yes, it's FireWire, but it's non-standard protocol. And you can't make it standard because it wasn't manufactured that way.
Make something fit that's not supposed to fit. Yep.
Let it go. Yep. And I was just like, wow, what is going on with me that I've got this addiction? And you do a little self-therapy, you get a therapist and a counselor, or it can be a friend, it can be a professional counselor, someone to kind of help you tease apart your stories that you tell yourself, and then say, okay, I can let them go now. And all of a sudden you have this territory in which other things can come into.
Yeah, I had a friend who was on his 30th birthday. He lived back when I lived in Denver. He had just gone through everything that was important to him, and he'd taken it out of this weird, funky A-frame, literally like an A-frame thing that he lived on somebody's property in Denver, outside of Denver. And he had this propane stove in there that always had this slow gas leak, and he said, yeah, I got to fix that one of these days. Literally within minutes of him taking out all of the garbage that he wanted to get rid of, leaving all the stuff that he really wanted to keep inside, and he was standing out back, lighting up his Nat Sherman cigarette, staring off at this beautiful view of the Rocky Mountains. He heard behind him as the propane stove decided to give up the ghost and burn this place down to the ground in about 45 minutes. All of his journals from when he was, writing journals from the time he was like 12 years old, 16 millimeter cameras, 16 millimeter college film projects, everything gone. And I remember I saw him about a month after the fire, and we're sitting in a bar, and I said, did you take all the stuff outside and just go through it again and keep what you needed? He goes, no, I'd already decided that was garbage. So it was garbage. It didn't change the fact that it was garbage. It's garbage. And I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm still in shock a little bit, but you know what? Everybody needs a fire.
In my case, I started referring to it as unshopping.
Yeah. And it's, he said, I don't wish this on anybody, but the idea that suddenly the decision of what is significant and insignificant is rendered without gray, it's black and white. It's like, this is what I have. This is what I used to have. This is what I don't have anymore. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, I'm not dead. That stuff was nice to have and pretty and, tinsely and twinkly, but it was just stuff. It's just a thing. It's just stuff, and he figured out after a while, it was like, yeah, man, I could just kind of start again. And, it really changed his life for the better in many respects. I do not, that said, if anybody, anybody in the cosmic freaking plane
around our
is
rooms
listening
full
to,
of
do
stuff.
not burn my shit. I mean, there's a guitar over there that I've wanted my whole life, and I finally got it. So, just give me a 10-minute warning.
I had the feeling, everybody has their different level of this. Here he is in Colorado, living relatively lean to begin with.
Yeah.
So, that's his universe story. And we don't have to purge everything we have. At the same time, there's there's a certain point where things are holding you back. And just because you can have space for it doesn't mean it should stick around. I think my peak was when I lived in Oakland in an artist live workspace, big warehouse, 2,700 square feet. And when I decided to move out of there, I'd gotten used to what I saw. And when you have to pull it apart, you're like, where's this all going to go? And I opened up the roll top, organized everything, and said, come at it. And it all went. And there was still too much left. That was the point for me. It wasn't the loss or this. It was when I tried to give away stuff and I still had too much. That's when I knew how far the rabbit hole had gone.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
so
I wake up.
I just saw something that somebody wrote. Eve, I don't know if Eve Fleischman is still on Facebook, but I just saw her say, yay, magic. So I want to do something real quick for her and magic. For you guys. All right. So, I'm going to use this as a sort of a storytelling thing. It's just basically, I just grabbed a couple of 20s out of my wallet. Okay. So there's two $20 bills, all right? Nothing particularly, whoops, get a little closer here. There we go. Nothing particularly, unique about them other than the fact that they're $20 bills. But if you think of them as, slightly different than you normally would, like if you just think of them as representing things, there's always the argument that you could, you can buy a brand new car for $200,000 and it's a beautiful thing and it makes you feel good. Or you could read a book for $20 and that book changes your life and the car is just a thing, right? And so I really believe that's true. I believe the difference between something, what something costs and its real value are worlds apart. So if that $20 bill, which obviously is significantly less than the value of a human being, but it's what I'm going to use as a prop, represents you, all right? You just being the universal you. And this other 20 represents somebody that you connect with. I mean, that you really connect with. Then I think it's a safe assumption that connection enriches both you and the person that you're connecting with in ways that by anyone's definition are magical and gives you something of greater value.
Look at that. Look at that.
Because really all it is reaching out to one person, just one. That's it.
Given our previous conversation, I was like, I like the fact that you flipped it around the other way. It wasn't just getting something, but it was giving something away. You gave away like $60 there.
Exactly.
And someone out there on this call, you may need to check your pocket.
Exactly. Or just, when you change when you get ready, when you put your pajamas on, when you put your what were the pajamas you were wearing? Caleb, what was that? I can't remember that.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, when you put on your Nightmare Before Christmas pajamas, there might be $60 tucked in there someplace in a strategic location.
And it could be distributed amongst. In fact, we have a number of people on this, so everybody gets a little share of the magic. And you never know. You do an act like that, and you put that $60 out into ether. It might not be in everybody's jammies. It might be a week, a month from now.
Yeah, who knows?
You say a kind word to someone, and someone hands you that $20.
Mm-hmm.
As a busker,
somebody invests it in Ethereum, cryptocurrency, and they make themselves $100 million, and then they do some great work with it. So let's see what that goes. My son is making a killing in that stuff. I cannot believe he is so smart about this. God, he goes, Dad, I'm just kind of playing around with it, but I have a little bit of money. I'm going to buy some, Bitcoin and some Ethereum and see what happens. Like, okay,
so
just remember,
folks,
who loves you?
if you've missed out on the last decade of talking about cryptocurrency and alternate currencies, and have like most Americans lulled yourself into a false sense that a currency is the dollar, because the United States control of the world has been so total. Most transactions are happening in dollars, even if they're local currencies. Cryptocurrency is a whole different thing. It's like money with no coins, no paper. It's just data.
But based on blockchain technology. It's crazy. The whole thing is so
secure data. And then you say it's based on blockchain technology, and everyone goes, what? What is blockchain technology? I got this the other day. Blockchain technology is going to be great for music. And then I'm like, well, that's 5 years old. Okay. And I talked to a blockchain, a friend of mine in the know, and he's like, oh yeah, that was 2 years ago. That went bust. So there's like literally the equivalent of gold rushes and boom and bust and empires being formed. And it's all happening digitally in the electronic reality. That's the world that you're not quite seeing right now. That's happening all around you.
It's going to be a lot harder for me to do tricks when I'm trying to fold, two $20 bills and turn them into 100 virtually. It just that's really going to suck for me. I'm really upset about that already.
Well,
I'm angry about it too.
And there might be some laws against that.
Taking away all my fun.
Depends upon your download speed.
Exactly.
Well, we do have time for another video. I think we should,
which one do you have?
We should do one more.
Is it the one that I sent? Because I sent an actual music video that I did of.
Yeah. Let's do the new one. You named it
called?
one thing. I named it something different.
Oh dear, what is it?
Because you were being too nice, and you gave it this elaborate name. And the song's called "Shit Show."
Oh God,
it's the hook. It's the real title. Come on.
All right.
All right, folks. We're gonna do our last video of this episode. It's called "Shit Show." I say
it was. Let me just say that it was Mitch McConnell's tender, loving farewell. At least inspired by one of the things he said as a tender, loving farewell to Donnie.
Okay. All right. With that context, I'm going to bring you "Shit Show," and then we'll come back, talk with Ken a little more, and then sadly we got to wrap up for the week because my wife has a couple projects that I need to get to. So here it is, Ken Newman, "Shit Show."
Marbles headlines, ain't you surprised to hear me say so? Cause I was his chump, when Trump would say jump, I'd say how high should I go? Believe me when I tell you, I solemnly swear, I never really liked him and I hated his hair. But you must be tripping if you think I grew a pair. Oh no, there ain't nothing down there. It's just the last damn day, the last damn day, the last damn day of this shit show. The last day of this shit show. Time for you and your family to split. When the front door closes, don't let your ass get in. We're saying ta-ta to the tangerine twin. Bye-bye. We're broken up about it. Really, really, really broken up about it. 'Cause it's the last damn day, the last damn day, the last damn day of this shit show. Day of this shit show. I know there's many folks who found that shit show pleasing. But sorry, Slippy, you ain't coming back next season. The ratings suck, baby, that's the reason. 'Cause the network finally canceled your shit show. They canceled your shit show. Oh, my. They canceled your shit show. Bye-bye. They canceled your shit show. Woo-hoo.
There you go, Ken Newman. Ken, what do you call this song?
I think from this point forward, it's probably, well, it's not going to have much this point forward. That's one of the lovely things about it. It was like, I could ride it knowing full well that it had no legs. It's going to last like 24, maybe 48 hours and be like, gone.
Oh my God.
Gone.
Don't have to think about it anymore.
Yay. He's gone. The song's gone. It's okay. It was just, actually, it was, again, Scott Mickelson. That's what inspired this. He had written just the line that Mitch said that, the mob was fed lies. You know, it was the first time that he just kind of flat out said, yeah, that guy that I've been supporting for the last 4 years really inspired this riot. And so Scott wrote, the mob was fed lies. Somebody please do a song with this. And so it was middle of the afternoon. I kind of went, well, I got nothing to do for a couple of hours. So I did that. And I just thought, well, I'm just going to do one verse. And then, I had an idea for another verse and I think I'll record it. I might as well put subtitles. I think I'll post it, next thing you know, it's both, making people laugh and pissing people off. So it's kind of like the story of my life.
That song was a real Mitch slap to the senator.
It was. Oh God. So anyway, that's
yeah. It's a moment. Take a deep breath. Remember that Zen pillow, and let it go.
Let it go, baby.
I feel the space opening up in the universe for us to reconnect. If you hadn't seen it, one little side tangent. I can't possibly let this episode end without a tangent because it's been the most cohesive and coherent episode, I think, of the entire series. And I can't allow that to happen. Right. So if you check my feed, there's the Fry and Laurie, which was a British duo comedians, Stephen Fry,
yes.
Hugh Laurie, right? They used to have the show back in the late 80s and 90s. And of course, they've both become very famous for other things now as actors and professionals. But they had this comedy section. And they'd done this skit in 1995 about the impact that Rupert Murdoch had on Britain. He had done this to Australia. He had done this to Britain. And they were sick of the, pitting everybody against each other that he was all about in Britain. So they did this skit in 95 about who he is and kind of what his MO is. And of course, after what happened in Britain, he moved to the U.S. He moved to the U.S. and did a good job here. So if you've not seen this sketch,
please watch it. It is you would swear it was done like a couple of years ago. It's just it's staggering. It just
shows how much
laser focused,
how much he has influenced Western civilization at this point. We're talking about Rupert Murdoch.
Yes.
Okay. Well, having
are we almost out of time, or did you want to end with one last crazy magic thing?
Oh. More magic. I'll tell my wife, okay, we stayed an extra 15 minutes, but we're going
to try to make it.
All right. We're going to have one more magic. Eve, if you're still watching.
I'm going to try to do this as a two-part illusion here, and I'll show you what I mean. I think I will ask Caleb if you would please to look at the camera because I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
I want you to well, first of all, I'm going to show you what they are. Apparently there's some the what do you call it? The lottery is like huge right now in California. I guess I don't know what the hell the number is, but it's like apparently staggeringly high. And I used to do this a lot. I used to play what do they call it? The scratchers. It was a fantasy 5 scratcher game. And I actually won. I won like $2,000 or something, and it was just having to have a certain number that appeared on 5 tickets. And so since then, I've kept the tickets because I am nothing if not superstitious about having cool stuff. So, I'm going to do that. I just pulled them out of my wallet. I just thought I'll use this for the trick and see if I can pull this off. So, Caleb, what I want you to do is I want you to think of it. It's got all kinds of different numbers on it. Just think of any 2-digit number up to like 31.
24.
Okay, now I want you to think of another one and not tell me because
I'm
going to
give it away.
No, it's fine. I could do it, but I'd much rather do it to see if I can kind of reach across the ether into your mind.
Right.
You got a 2-digit number in mind?
I've got it in my mind.
Okay, great. Now here's what I want to do. I'm going to show you each one of these tickets, and I want you to look carefully at the ticket. Is your 2-digit number on this ticket?
Nope. Nope.
It is not.
It is not.
Okay, great. Is your 2-digit number on this ticket?
Yes.
It is. Oh, wonderful. Good for you. Okay. Is the 2-digit number your 2-digit number on this ticket?
Let's see here. Nope.
Nope. Okay, great. How about on this one? You just got a couple more here. Is your 2-digit number on this ticket?
Let's see. Yep.
It is. Wow, how exciting. Is your 2-digit number on this ticket?
Let's see here. Nope.
No, it is not. And finally, is your 2-digit number on this ticket?
Yes.
It is. Wow, you've got 3 winners and 4 losers. I don't think you're going to win the big bucks, but Dave, tell them what we've got for him. All right, so what I want you to do now is I want you to take that. You've got this number that you're thinking of in your mind, right?
Yep.
Okay. Joe, I want you to think of say a number out loud from 1 to 5.
4.
4? Okay. So you said the number 4, and Caleb, you're just thinking of a 2-digit number, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now I'm going to write down a bunch of numbers on here on this thing and see how I do. See, I'll do this while I'm here. I'll try to do it so that you can see me do it.
Ken showing us his guns.
1, 2, 7, 1, 1, 8, 1, 3, 2, 5, 1, 0, 3, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 6, and 9. Okay, so Caleb, if you look on here, within any one of those boxes, is your number there?
Nope.
It's not. That's weird. Okay, so what was your number?
13.
Great, and you said what was it, 4, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you get when you multiply 13 by 4, Caleb?
Let's see, that's going to be 26. That's 40. That's plus 12. So 40, 50, 52.
52? Well, I want to see something because I didn't quite get what I thought I was going to get, but let's see what happens. 2 and 31 is 33. 33 and 12 is 43, 45, and 7 is 52. Oh, there it is. That's the number. And 11 and 8 is 19, and 1 is 20, and 32 is also 52. And 5 and 10 is 15, and 4 is 19, and 33 is 52. And 34 and 3 is 37, and 6 and 9 is 15. Well, that's 52. Now, what's even weirder about that is I think it may be work. 7 and 32 is 39, 40, 52. 12 and 1 is 13, 6 is 19, 33 is 52, 31, 39, 49, 52. 2, 11, 13, 5 is 18, 34 is 52. And it gets even weirder. The corners, 7 and 2 is 9, 9 is 18, and 34 is 52. And then, of course, the diagonals, 7 and 1 is 8, 10 is 18, and 34 is 52. 9 and 33 is 42. 8 and 2 and 10, that's 52. 32 and 4 is 36. 11 and 5 is 16, that's 52. 3 and 6 is 9, 31 and 12, that's 52. These 4 in the middle, 8, 1, 10, 33, that's 52. Those 4 are 52, that's 52, that's 52, and that's 52. Now, imagine how much better I could have done if I actually didn't have to read your mind. And that I like this mic too much, otherwise I'd drop it.
Nice. Well, let's give a round of applause for Ken Newman.
Get out of here. Get out of here. You just made me come back in a few weeks and do it again.
Yeah,
well, I think
you got to come up.
my schedule for the next month of finances.
Oh my God, this was the most fun I've had with my clothes on. This is great. Thank you.
Whoa. Well, thank you, Ken, for being on the show, and thank you, folks, for tuning in. As you can see from this interview, Ken is an amazing, multifaceted human being who's doing good in the world, and
embarrassing my son constantly.
He's a role model. He's a role model to us all.
Oh God, get out of here. We will do this again. I will have. I'll spend some time thinking about what tricks really translate well to the small screen, and we'll come up with some other stuff too. So this was fun. I have a lot of this stuff I've never done online before, so it was kind of an exciting challenge to at least hold it in the right place.
Cool. We got an exclusive, and you got to practice with the technology, which is awesome.
Exactly.
And I don't know. Now, I always get to this point of the show, and I just feel like so much stimulation has gone in my mind, and I'm like so inspired. I just want to ramble on about this. What, honey? What are you saying? You got some honeydews.
Honey, yeah, exactly.
Well, Joe, as usual, I'd like to give you the last word. You were quieter during this episode than usual.
Well, because he had two people around that didn't shut the hell up. That's why.
No, that's fine and well. No, I was taking it all in. The thing that I like, the takeaway, is you've been an inspiration to many of the musicians that are listening in, and will listen in when this is recorded. You've been an inspiration in one particular way. We like to express, we stress that musicians, people are budding musicians, working with online, with Zoom, with distribution and collaboration online, working with other private individuals online, in terms of producing, editing, mixing, auxiliary musicians. It's not just one person hidden in the room. They collaborate with others throughout. Caleb is well known for this. They can take a page from your book, because you've done the exact same thing on a grassroots level, on a street level, and probably your secret weapon is that you didn't do it specifically for you. You did it for a cause outside yourself, a bigger world, a bigger cause, and on that, you became a type of success by accident, by rote, because your aim was elsewhere, helping the greater good. And just getting out there and networking with people like Margaret Cho, for example, and Peter Coyote, and getting with people, and then to the point where then people start coming and seeking you out, to saying, famous people to boot, what can I do? How can I contribute to you? And they're drawn to you, like moths to a flame. And that kind of, you get the ball rolling for networking, and it comes right back at you and it's an upward spiral of creativity, of collaboration, of fellowship, and a greater cause. More and more people aiming for a cause, and more people being served and assisted as a result. And that I take it's an inspiration. And any online musicians, be they in collaborating with other like-minded artists and producers and whatnot, mixers, they need to take a page from this book, because they're doing it for themselves and to better their art and to create art. And you're doing it not just to create art, but for the greater good of helping your mankind. And you did it online, but you're doing it on a street level that is just magnificent. And I think it's very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
And anybody
so
watching
much.
better take a page from your book if they know it's good for them.
Wow, that's really moving. Thank you so much. That means a lot. A lot of it is, the what you said is exactly how this. I remember the moment I was walking down the street and going, this money isn't going to help me that much. Maybe I should just do it for this. Everything that's happened to me, every success I've had, every connection I've made with anybody of any consequence has been a direct result of just saying, you know what, I'm just going to, it's not like everybody can afford to give it away, but it was just making it was a different point of focus. So like, well, let's see what this, my whole damn career, my life has been an accident. I wasn't supposed to be an actor. I wasn't supposed to be a producer. I wasn't supposed to ever, own a house. None of this was supposed to happen. It was all just kind of like, there's a thing in improv comedy called yes and. It's the basic paradigm that allows for improv to grow and to flourish. It's when somebody comes up with an idea, you say, yeah, and once somebody goes like this and goes, wow, no, they're sitting on stage in front of an audience, and that he has this impulse. He goes, wow, nice day fishing. And the other one goes, yeah, and it's going to be a hell of a lot better one of these days when we can afford fishing rods, and then blackout. So you've got, right, you just take it and you build on that, right? And that's kind of what's happened. If anyone said, reverse engineer blanket the homeless, or, whatever career I have as a musician, I could, but none of it was by design. There wasn't one element that was by design, except taking a guitar lesson 50 years ago. You know, everything else has been an accident.
The best dream that never happened. And if you say it's an accident, all I can tell you is resign to greatness.
Oh, yeah. Luck is the residue of design, huh? Wow, this is, gosh. Oh man, Caleb, thank you so much. This has just lit me up. I'm telling you, you have no idea.
You got to come back. You got to come back. That's all.
I will. I absolutely will. Let's we can talk about that whenever you want.
Awesome. And thank you, everybody that tuned in to watch this episode. Your inspiration, motivates me to create the show, to reach out to different artists and talented, creative people, to bring them onto the program and then share them back out to you. It's part of this wheel of giving where you receive and you take that reception and give back, which then keeps the wheel in motion. So thank you to all you guys for watching. Thank you, Ken, for saying yes. And we're going to go ahead and stop the stream in a moment. I'm going to have you hang tight, and we're going to put that date on the calendar. So watch for that, folks, for Ken's return. Do tune in next week, where we'll have another great artist. And stay safe out there. Okay, folks? Appreciate you. Again, if you have any questions about the show, questions for artists that come up later, about the ideas that they talked about during the episode, feel free to reach out and message me on Facebook under Caleb Duarte, KALIBDUARTE, and reach out, have a conversation. Never hurts. All right, folks. If you want to find out more, if you're just tuning into this show for the first time about my work, you can check me out on Facebook, as I mentioned. I've got 3 band projects that are on Bandcamp and YouTube. Check out the videos and music. And again, thank you for watching.